Your choice. At this point in time, like I was talking about in the last video that I uploaded, there is a banking consortium, and money, or what you call as wealth, or ashir, is created through debt. So depending on the rates, you can have more people becoming homeless and losing, and less people becoming homeless and losing, depending on the interest rates. You got sales tax and property tax. You got all these people that give oaths to the government, and they say, if the nation is under the tribe of God. Now, here's where the tribe of God got sloppy. God allowed for Federal Reserve to be made, and he allowed for property taxes and other taxes to be made. If God has been governing this country since the 1700s, I'd say God is as sloppy Joe. Now, according to the Bible, you'd be considered consenting with thieves. But according to the Torah, if you're not stealing and somebody's giving you money for rent and all this other stuff, then technically you wouldn't be part of an enforcer mafia. Here's the new proposal. And there's ways for this to be corrupted, and I'll add more details on this stuff, but it'll take some time for me to do this stuff because I'm kind of busy. So my proposal is this. Now take a look at this. You got your private banks. They've got their own money. They can make their own crypto. They can lend money to other people, whatever is accepted. Now you have the government and the government bank. You have like something similar to China where they do the tests, but the highest IQs get to work in the government or research or mathematics and be the teachers. And they get treatment because we want higher IQs in society. We don't want lending of money, no bonds from the government, no lending money from the government, people needing help. Well, here's some printed up money that you give to the person, and depending on how they spend it, they could either become a slave or not become a slave. No taxes. The government's not going to take your money. The government's not going to take money to pay debts. The government's just going to make up money. There's not going to be any bonds. There'd be no gun restriction laws. So if somebody wants to go shoot little kids in a school, there could be another little kid, maybe at like another little kid pulling out his pistol. Pow, 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 pow. You gonna try to kill me, dude? Bam, bam. If there's a problem, people can do duels. People can settle stuff outside dueling. You got private banks. And these private banks can't do business with the government or government officials. Separation of banks and states. You get rid of restrictions on businesses. You allow businesses to do what they want as long as their stuff's not flowing to your side of the pond. My example on this is if there's like a GMO company and it starts affecting my crops, and then the GMO company wants to come steal my farm because, which I don't have a farm at this point, but this happened. There were people that had a farm. The GMO crops came into somebody else's crops and affected their crops, and then they wanted to steal their farm because they said, oh, you have our genetic crops. Bleep that. If you can't control your stuff and it's on my property, there's a lot of stuff we could talk about with this, but allow the purchase of apartments and ownership of livestock anywhere. You hear how I'm talking about more access to goods and freedom. No zoning or extra laws. All this extra laws hurting you. It's pretty much like a slaughterhouse situation. Now, no minimum wage. I mean, I can quote people from the Gospels or whatnot. Wait. Look. Freaking focus phone. No mandatory or water electricity. No mandatory air conditioning. These cryptocurrencies would operate in a certain way where you could have private banks making their crypto. You could have governments making their own crypto. People could be operating off these cryptocurrencies And you can have regions with cryptocurrencies. But when you limit the flow of knowledge and all this other stuff from all these regulations and mumbo jumbo where I can't buy what I need, then the society gets siphoned and stopped. There's so much more I got to add to this. I'm going to add more information. The situation is at the numbers that we're increasing at and the multiplication that's happening. If we don't allow ourselves to make more, we're pretty much going to be like bacteria when it hits the sides of the petri dish and runs out of food and water. There can't be this like babying people and adding stuff to the petri dish to where people aren't prepared. Hopefully we're intelligent as a society where we can prepare for this stuff.